The samurai film is one of the oldest and most demanding genres in cinema. It has Kurosawa. It has Kobayashi. It has decades of masterworks that set a standard that most films wouldn't dare try to meet. This list isn't about any of those films. Everything here was made after the year 2000 with one intention: to deliver the best samurai action films of the modern era. Not slow-moving, meditative, social commentary pieces, no Kurosawa homework required, just a collection of 5 films that understand what the genre can do with a sword, a skilled filmmaker, and the right amount of ambition. Some of these are great cinema. Some of them are just action-packed fun. All 5 are worth a watch. Takeshi Kitano's Zatoichi is a strange film to put on an action list. I'm aware of that. Kitano, who also goes by Beat Takeshi, is not a filmmaker who makes conventional action movies. His films move at their own pace, follow their own internal logic, and tend to be more interested in atmosphere than kinetic momentum. And yet, the action sequences in this film are unlike almost anything else in modern samurai cinema. They're sudden, extreme, and over before you've processed what happened. Kitano shoots swordplay the way violence actually works. Not as a choreographed performance, but as a brief interruption to normal life that leaves bodies on the ground. The contrast between the film's quieter moments and those eruptions of violence makes each one land harder than it otherwise would. The Zatoichi character, a blind masseur who is secretly one of the most dangerous swordsmen alive, has a long history in Japanese cinema, going back to the 1960s. Kitano's version doesn't ignore that, but it doesn't feel beholden to it either. The movie even includes a full-on tap dancing sequence that has, honestly, divided audiences for nearly 20 years. If you want your samurai action films to also have something going on underneath the surface, this is your entry point. Azumi is a film that commits fully to its premise and doesn't apologize for it. A group of orphans are raised from childhood as assassins by a retired samurai, trained for a single mission: kill the warlords threatening Japan's fragile peace before they can start a war. Aya Ueto plays Azumi, the most gifted of the group, a young woman who is extraordinarily good at killing and has to decide what that means about who she is. The action is relentless. Director Ryuhei Kitamura, who made Versus 2 years prior, treats the action sequences as the film's primary language. There's a lot of it. It's very well executed, and Ueto is genuinely compelling as the lead. Her committed performance actually finds a way to elevate the film. It also features Joe Odagiri as one of the more memorable villains in modern action cinema, flamboyant, dangerous, and clearly having the time of his life. A sequel exists? It's not on this list. For his 100th film, director Takeshi Miike made a movie in which the protagonist fights 100 enemies. That's exactly the kind of filmmaker Miike is. Based on Hiroaki Samura's celebrated manga, Blade of the Immortal follows Manji, a samurai cursed with immortality whose wounds heal almost instantly. Manji agrees to protect a young girl seeking revenge against the dojo that killed her family. The immortality promise sounds like it might diffuse the action's tension. It doesn't. Miike finds ways to make each fight genuinely threatening regardless. And the film uses Manji's condition to explore something more interesting than invincibility. What it costs a person to survive everything when everyone around them doesn't. Takuya Kimura, one of Japan's biggest stars, plays Manji with a convincing world-weariness. The action is inventive, frequently brutal, and builds towards a final sequence that earns the film's 100-enemy promise. It's not Miike's best film, but it's one of his most enjoyable. I'll be honest with you. 13 Assassins, also directed by Takashi Miike, is a better film than everything else on this list. It is probably one of the best action films made anywhere in the world in the last 20 years. The final 45-minute battle sequence, 13 samurai against 200 soldiers in a village rigged as a killing ground, is as well constructed a piece of action cinema as you will find anywhere. The setup is classical and deliberate. A group of samurai are assembled to assassinate a sadistic lord before he ascends to a position of power. The first hour is methodical. You learn who these men are, what they stand for, and what they're walking into. Miike takes his time because he knows what's coming, and he wants you to feel the weight of it. When the action starts, it really starts. The reason it sits at number 2 rather than number 1 on this list is that 13 Assassins is more interested in what the samurai ideal costs, rather than in the pure spectacle of watching it performed. It earns every frame of its action through character and consequence, which makes it a greater film, but a slightly less purely enjoyable samurai action film than what takes our top spot. An honorable mention before we move on to number 1, and Takashi Miike's third appearance here with easily the most divisive film on this list. Sukiyaki Western Django is a Japanese spaghetti western. The entire cast speaks English phonetically. Quentin Tarantino appears in a cameo and gives a monologue about eggs. The story is set in feudal Japan, but follows the structure of a Leone Western almost beat for beat. It's stylized to the point of abstraction and makes no apologies for it. Whether it works for you will depend entirely on your tolerance for Miike at his most self-indulgent. The action is good. The film around it is deliberately strange. If that sounds like your thing, you'll want to check this out. If it doesn't, you're not alone. Let's move on to number 1. 5 films over 9 years. And as a complete body of work, the Rurouni Kenshin series is, without a doubt, the best of modern samurai action cinema. The premise is deceptively simple. Kenshin was once the most feared assassin of the Meiji Revolution, a man responsible for more deaths than he can count. But when the war ended, he put away his killing sword, took up a reverse blade that cannot cut, and made a vow to never kill again. The series follows what happens when the world keeps sending people to test that vow. Based on a manga by Nobuhiro Watsuki, Kenshin has a long history in media. The film series could have easily flopped, but it managed to overcome the curse that many live-action adaptations of manga face by being a truly great and fun series. One that manages to take itself seriously while still honoring the more outlandish elements of its manga roots. Director Keiichi Otomo and action choreographer Kenji Tanigaki built a visual grammar for Kenshin's Hiten Mitsurugi style that feels genuinely unlike anything else in the movie. And then, across 5 films, they find ways to keep escalating the action. Takeru Sato plays Kenshin, and his physical performance is one of the more underappreciated pieces of action acting in recent memory. He brings a softness to the character between fights that makes the violence, when it comes, feel consequential rather than just another action scene.
おかえりなさい、剣心。
ただいまでござる。
That's 5, well, technically 9 modern samurai action films, plus one very strange honorable mention. Between them, I think they cover almost everything the genre can do when it's at its best. If samurai cinema is your thing, but you're more interested in the dramatic side of the genre, the films that use sword as a character rather than spectacle, let me know in the comments below. That's a completely different list, and my picks for it might surprise you. More videos coming, subscribe if you want to see them, and thanks for watching.